Join us today as we talk Iredell Housing Fund and the United Way's longest table.
Welcome to Front and Center, the podcast that pulls back the curtain on government operations, offering you an exclusive glimpse into the inner workings of the city of Statesville.
Welcome back to Front and Center. We're glad you're with us today, and I am so happy to introduce our guest today from the United Way. I have Mr. Brett Eckerman.
Good morning.
And I have Matthew Pierce, which is my suite mate on the third floor of City Hall.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm going to let you both introduce yourself, tell our audience who you are and what you do. Brett, you go first.
I'm Brett Eckerman. I have the honor of serving as the executive director of your United Way here in Iredell County. Been here for about 12 years now in that role, and love the opportunity it gives me to work with so many partners like the city across this community that are pulling in the same direction, trying to make this place a little better.
And you, Mr. Pierce?
My name is Matthew Pierce. I'm the assistant to the city manager for the city of Statesville, also a third floor resident in City Hall. Mostly what I do is run special projects. If something needs to get done but doesn't have a home in a department, it'll often come to me. So that's part of the reason I work on housing.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to jump in with you, Brett. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right.
It's at the deep end.
Yes, it is. All right, so give us an overview of the United Way and what the role is in the community. What is the United Way, if people don't know?
So the short version, United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every single person in Iredell County.
Okay.
It's a huge job.
That's a very small sentence for a huge job.
Yeah, but we're very fortunate that we have partners across this county pulling in the same direction. And that includes, last year we funded 57 locally serving nonprofit organizations.
That's amazing.
That served more than 62,000 folks. And we
Wow.
were able to do that because of folks like our partnerships with the city of Statesville, folks that are mission related with us, that we work together and figure out how we can best coordinate, collaborate to be as efficient as possible and serve the needs of people of our community.
There are so many people that would be lost without what you all do. So, I mean, you're touching so many people, and that's amazing. So we've been working with you guys. The city has been on the, I'm going to get it right, Iredell Housing Fund.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is a big opportunity for the city. It's kind of our way of giving back to help other people. So give us a rundown of what this fund is and who it helps.
Yeah, so if you ask pretty much everybody at this point in time, is the cost of housing an issue for our community, our country? Almost universally, you're going to get an answer yes.
Absolutely.
I can relate to this. My first house my wife and I bought was in Randleman, North Carolina, and we paid $126,000 for that house. And if it had been $126,300, I was been searching in the couch cushions trying to find everything. And now that same house is $280,000. And
right.
I don't know how people get started unless they have a family that can help them in that mix, unless they just are very fortunate. It's hard to get into home ownership. And so this fund is intended to try to do what we can to use the leverage of our partners to solve that problem together. So
Give me a couple of your partners. Who are you working with?
we are absolutely astonished by how many people are coming around on this. So we're working with City of Statesville, Town of Mooresville, Iredell County government, but also with a lot of housing agencies that have been doing work in this community for a long time. Habitat for Humanity, Purple Heart Homes, iCare, Statesville Housing Authority, so many different folks that are willing to come together, get outside of their individual silos or their programs.
That's hard to do.
And that is hard to do. It's extra work. It takes time. It takes commitment. But these folks realize that to get to the scale we need to get to make this problem better, we've got to work together.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Matthew, you've worked closely on this project. One of those projects, as you said, that kind of gets passed down. But this is a huge thing. This is something that the city council has talked about. It's something that they've asked us to do, to look into helping people with housing. And so how do we get here?
Yeah, so about a year or so ago, the council received a report on housing in the community. And that looked at where was the specific need here. Is it in providing additional rental support? more rental units, more housing, more support for existing homeowners. And as staff studied the problem, right, we figured out a couple of things. One was that on the rental side, we have programs and partners that are doing a pretty good job with that, and that's
Right.
their bailiwick, right? So the Housing Authority really takes care of the historically provided rental units, right?
Right.
But also they oversee the Section 8 program,
Right.
which is support for renters. New rental units are provided chiefly through the program, the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit, right? It's actually a private sector
Okay.
thing. So we put aside the sort of rental unit concern, and then we started looking at home ownership. And one of the things that we saw as a key opportunity was to support new homeowners and to support existing homeowners, especially folks that are vulnerable to losing their homes. So we can talk in a bit about the details of the program, but that was where the council decided to put most of its weight in this.
Okay. Brett, back to you. Give us the qualifications for the program. What makes you eligible?
So it's a little complicated.
It's always complicated,
It's
Brett.
always complicated. And the reason it's complicated is we have so many different groups working together. So two partners I didn't even mention, Rebuilding Together, they just focus on home repairs.
Okay.
And they have certain set of qualifications for their program dollars that are set by governments, grants, way up
Absolutely.
high in Washington, and they have no ability to flex that. Community Foundations is another group, and they partner very closely with the NC Housing Finance Agency, and that has a whole different set of qualifications. So to make this as easy as possible, what we've tried to do is we've set up a quick screening guide. If you go to our website and you click on Iredell Housing Fund, there's a button on the front page of our website,
Okay.
which is uwiredale.org. And right on that front page is a button. Click on it, Iredell Housing Fund. It takes you to a screening guide that asks maybe 8 to 10 questions.
Okay.
And the point of that is to
Wait a
figure
minute,
out.
Brett. 8 questions, that's quick? That's the quick screening guide?
That's the
I'm
quick
just
screening
teasing. No.
guide.
You keep going. I just had
We'll
to say.
talk about the full application
Oh,
in a
no,
minute.
oh, no.
But they're quick, easy yes or no questions.
Good.
Do you own the home? Do you live in the city of Statesville? Do you live in the town of Mooresville? Or do you live elsewhere in the county?
Right.
And it helps guide to which funding stream, which partnership might be the appropriate one for you.
Okay.
And the point of that is we don't want people to have to go through this whole long application process and find out at the end
Yes.
that it was a waste of time.
Okay, I'm liking the quick one now.
Now you like the quick
Yeah, I'd
one.
like that in a better. Because, I mean, we want to help as many people as possible, but I mean, even if they don't qualify for this, you may be able to help them get them to someone else.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about you guys. You have all these partners. Maybe this isn't the right fund to help them, but over here may be another place you can get them to.
The scale we would have to get to be able to help everybody that could use assistance in housing in Iredell County is enormous. It dwarfs what we can do locally with our budget, what the city can do locally with their budget, and all of us put together. What we can do is target on our leverage points where we can make the biggest bang for the dollar we have to invest. And that's the key to this, is to get to the point where we can get you to the right place to solve your problem, rather than have to call and talk to 12 different agencies to find where you might find some help.
Okay, so just so I understand, Matthew, the city wants us to focus on affordable housing, or they want this fund to focus on helping people repair their housing?
Right. So
I just want to make sure we're getting the right information out.
Sure.
Just make sure we're getting that out there.
Let's back up
Yes.
just a little bit. And we'll
Yeah.
say that, like, housing is housing.
I had to
on some
process a
level.
little bit there.
That's fine. So what we're trying to do, like, one of the goals of focusing on housing, one can be to get people into units that they can afford.
Right.
Right. Build equity. But the other is to help stabilize folks that already have homes, but maybe in risk of losing them, or where they're unaffordable. So the city gave $190,000 to United Way. 10 of that goes to administration costs for the overall program. So $140,000 goes to to weatherization and rehabilitation of homes.
Okay.
So on a particularly hot day, right, or a particularly hot month, you see we all see this, like our utilities costs go up.
Absolutely.
But if a home owner lives in a place that is a little drafty, is in need of some basic repairs, those costs are much higher. And if you're already sort of financially struggling a little bit, what that means is that you end up having to you may have to make the choice between, making the payment on utilities, buying food, paying for daycare,
Right.
any of that. And so 140 of the 190 is being focused in helping keep folks stay in their homes,
Right.
and to live there more affordably, so they can also not just stay there, but can spend money where they need to,
Right.
Not just into utilities costs. Now, $40,000 is going into 4 different sort of households to help them with home ownership.
Okay,
Right.
great.
So prior to when you're working on home ownership, if you've been through it before, right? There's a bunch of paperwork.
Oh, yes.
If you're a first-time homeowner, and I bought my first home just this past year, there's a lot you have to learn, right? And so when you've got folks that are first-time homeowners, one of the things that we do to support them, and these are always folks that have hit certain criteria we can come back to in a second. There are things like credit repair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting your credit score to a place where the loans that you take out, right, are more affordable, because the better
Absolutely.
your credit, the lower your points. Okay. Training in like how to maintain the household, right? What do you
Right.
have to do to just keep the house in good working order so we don't come back for weatherization in 20, 30 years? Down payment assistance, right?
Okay.
I mean, and I've said
That's a hard part right there. The down
that
payment is a tough part.
It is. I mean, because you might be paying, I have a neighbor who pays, I think, $1,400 in rent a month.
Wow.
That is more than my mortgage and HOA.
Typically now, rental prices are higher than our mortgage payments.
Yeah, and so if you're not able, that down payment is often the gap that folks face. Like
Yes.
if you can't save up that money because your rent is high and
Right.
whatever else.
You don't have anything to put over here in this pot.
Right. And so that $10,000, I mean, that's not a huge get, but like it's enough it's meant to help move folks toward that gap. Cover some of it will go to down payment assistance, perhaps. Some of it will go into credit repair. We gestured toward the qualifications. One of the things we wanted to do, that council decided to do with this money, is to focus it specifically on like the neediest portions of the community.
Right.
Right. So what they decided to do was to use the U.S. Departments of Housing and Urban Development standard of 80% area median income. So let me break that down.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that. to
So
me.
AMI is the short term, but it works like this. HUD, Housing and Urban Development, looks at each county, incomes for that county, and they say, okay, look, here are your lowest, the households with the lowest amount coming in, here's the ones with the highest. And then they count in to find the household, more or less, in the
Right.
very middle. And that person that's the median family income, right? And that number gets translated by HUD into sort of a benchmark for the community. And they typically say that the households that qualify for their programs, and that's what we're using as well, the state uses this for a number of programs, is 80% of the area median income. So if you take, the median household income, right, for Iredell County is $73,000, right?
Okay.
So you take 80% of that gets you down toward.
Right.
Right. On the quick screening guide, Brett and his team have put a very helpful sort of chart that has number of folks in your household. So if you're a household of 1 and you make $43,650, you would qualify.
Okay.
Right. And it goes down a bit. Like if a household of 8, you have to make $82,250, something like that. So.
That makes sense.
And
Okay.
let me shade that in just a little bit if I could, because when you say affordable housing, sometimes it's easy to fall into having a stereotype about who you're
Exactly.
serving
Sure.
with that. What we're really talking about with the 80% AMI is our teachers, our firefighters, our starting police officers,
Yes.
people who are employed in our community but can't afford to live here. And so the impact of being able to house those people locally is both an economic boost to those individuals, but it's also an economic boost to our county as a whole. It impacts the number of people on the roads coming in and out of this community every day. It impacts a lot of things that we have to spend as a community to support that go along with that. And so we're in the long run, by putting this investment on targeting those homeowners and getting them a place to start that cycle of success here in Iredell County, we are saving this community a ton of money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, thank you for that, Brett. Yeah.
One more question for you on this. Who should apply for this? What do I come to you for? Do I come to you because I have a hole in my roof? Can I come to you for that? I mean, I just want to make sure that we're letting people know all the things that they can, that this quick form, what it includes, and what they can look to you guys to maybe help them with.
So we want to make sure we're not going to do cosmetic repairs.
Okay.
So it's not about, well, I wish I had a gazebo in the backyard or anything along those lines. This is basic structural stuff that's going to help keep that house safe and a place habitable for people, help you stay in that home. So inside that scope, there's a ton of different stuff it could be. It could be an HVAC unit. It could be a roof. It could be plumbing issues. It could be floors. If you ever want to learn a little bit about the conditions that some folks in our county are living in, ask Brian over at iCare to share a little bit about his slideshow of some of the weatherization projects they've taken on. And if you walk into some of these homes, you don't know what's behind that door.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, it's our elderly population. It's folks on a fixed income that maybe just don't have the flexibility to do some of these projects anymore. But they've lived in that home for 30 years, and by gosh, they are not leaving that home.
They are not leaving that house. That's exactly right.
And though we want to support anybody that's facing that decision about whether I can stay in my home or I have to come up with another solution, those are the people that we want to be taking advantage of this program.
Okay. This is just a great program. I'm so happy that the city is working with United Way on this. Matthew, thank you for all your hard work on this program. It's just been, I know it was a process, and getting there was. You two both worked very hard on this. I know you gave presentations and to council, and I'm just happy that council has moved on and they've on this process and are wanting to help. So let's change gears. Let's talk about this longest table. What the heck is the longest table that you guys are doing? I mean, what is this thing we've been hearing about?
Honestly, it's a crazy idea. So I went to my board in 2018 and I said, let's invite everybody to come to a free community dinner and not talk about United Way, not talk about what we're doing, not talk about any of our partners, but let's have them talk to each other.
We don't do that, do we?
We don't.
You're exactly right. We do not.
So we have 2 8-foot tables together, so you sit about 16 folks on there, and we ask people, consider sitting beside people you didn't know coming into this event, and meet 15 new people, break bread together, figure out what you have in common. What are the things what are the values that you share? What are the visions that you share for this community? And just talk and have a good time. And it's gone like gangbusters. The first year we did it, Cheney Brothers, I have to mention Cheney Brothers because we could not do this without their support. They bring the food to the table, and people would get mad if I didn't feed them. So I'm very glad they do.
Absolutely.
And the first year we did it together, we went around halfway around the Statesville High School track.
Wow.
And Rick Stapleton, it was about 500 people, and Rick Stapleton said, that's a good start. Next year we're going to do the whole track. And by gosh, he was right. Next year, people seem to have a hunger for opportunities to connect with their neighbors. We all walk around half the time doing
Walking
this.
into things with our phone, right?
And we miss that opportunity to interact just with people, with people we didn't know. And that's all this is a chance to do that, to bring our community together. We're going to have 2 this year.
You're expanding.
We're expanding.
Oh my goodness.
Last year was the first year we did this in Mooresville in addition to Statesville, and we're going to have 2 again this year. October 6th, which is a Sunday, we're going to be at the Mooresville High School, and we're going to have a session there. That's at 1 o'clock. And then Tuesday night, 2 days later, October 8th,
Well, you guys are ambitious.
we are going to have 1,000 people on Mulberry Street.
Oh my goodness.
And it's a new location for us this year in Statesville, and we're very excited that the city was willing to work with us to make this happen. And Mitchell College is extremely excited by the location as well. They've been a partner in this thing from the start, and so we're going to go up and down Mulberry Street from sort of where Broad Street United Methodist on one side
Right.
to a residential area a little bit on the next side, and it's a great visual. It's a great time. Again, it's free. There's no ask for a donation other than you can bring a can of food if you want, and that'll go to a local pantry. And it's just an opportunity to network, meet new folks, and celebrate what we have as a community.
Wow. How many people do you expect this year?
So we have ticket space for 1,200.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see what happens.
Ooh, that's
but
a lot of people you're feeding, Brett. Are you cooking?
I am not cooking. and if you've ever been to my house for a meal, you will be thankful that I'm not cooking. We'll leave that to the people that know what they're doing. But I'll mostly be wandering around and hugging people because it is a great experience.
All right. So what can I do to get involved if I want to help out? Not just eat, but come and help out. What do I have to do?
So we have a ton of volunteer opportunities available for Longest Table. It takes about 200, 250 volunteers to
Wow.
put together that dinner
Okay.
for all those folks. And I should say we've got a great collaborative committee that really runs the show. I mean, United Way serves as a fiscal agent. We kind of help daydream this thing a little bit with a few community partners, but this is really a community-owned collaborative. We have people from all kinds of different agencies and organizations across the community that make this happen each year. If you would like to volunteer, you can go to our website that I already mentioned, uwiredell.org, and you click on Volunteer, which is in the upper right corner of the website, and it'll take you to a new platform called The Hive. And Linda Wahlberg will kick my rear end if I don't say a little bit something about the Hive.
Go right ahead.
But it is a free, you can register there and you can find volunteer opportunities across the community year round.
Okay.
But you can also find a lot of volunteer opportunities for Longest Table coming up in just a few weeks. But the Hive is there for you. It takes 3 minutes to register for it. You know, you put in your name like you do with Google or all these other places. And then you'll see different opportunities at any nonprofit organization, service organization across the community has the opportunity to list their volunteer opportunities there.
The Hive is definitely amazing. It's great what they've put together for this. It's been really good. So what if I just want to come and eat? I don't want to volunteer. Because, you want people to come out and fellowship and eat. So how do I do that?
So on
mentioned
that
ticket.
same website, we do ask for a ticket. It's a free ticket, but we do want to know who's coming and how many. And so we do ask you to get a ticket. And on our same website, there's a button that says Longest Table. And you click on that. It takes you to a site called Humanitix, which is a free ticketing site online. And you just put in your name and address, and you can sign up right there. If you have any trouble with that, you can also call Jody at our office.
All right, Jody, he's giving out your personal cell number.
And
I'm
this
just
is,
kidding.
This is Jody's number. You can call him 24/7. I'm not sure when he'll answer, but you can call him 24/7. His number is 704-832-8247, and he'll be happy to walk you through either a volunteer registration or a dinner registration, whatever you'd like to do.
And I will say that volunteer opportunities, when you say 200 to 250 people, you're right. I volunteered last year. Did you volunteer last year, Matthew?
No.
You weren't? Okay. So last year, you sent us over to the table to bag biscuits and butter, packs of butter. So, I mean, there's even things that I can do. They did not put me cooking either, trust me. They did not need me cooking. So. But yes, I mean, there's so many things that it takes to put this together. It's the little things too, though, like me just putting a little roll and a little pack of butter and a little baggie.
Yeah.
I mean, you need all of it done. So, I mean, this is a great way to be in the community, reach out.
Yeah, the dinner is
volunteer.
served family style, which is very intentional because we want it to feel like your home table. We want it to feel like a chance to interact and not just everybody sitting in their box.
Maybe it was, but did I put maybe I didn't put, did you put biscuits in little baggies?
I don't remember. I believe you. I bet you. Since you were closer
So
to that
you're
than I
telling me
were.
that it could have been home style, just throw the biscuits on the table, and I had to bag all those darn things? Just kidding. Well, thank you guys, both of you, for being here today. And this is very informative. We are happy that, this, like I said, the city is participating, happy to have the United Way on board doing all this work for the community. And is there anything else you guys have to say or put out there? Or?
Thank you for having us.
All right.
I just want to say thank you. The city and United Way have partnered in different forms and fashions for decades and decades. And we're very appreciative of the leadership, the city council and the city councils over time that have made that possible. And of course, the staff leadership that's made that possible with the city. Y'all are wonderful community servants, and we're honored to be able to partner with y'all.
Well, I look forward to signing up to volunteer and doing whatever I need to do again this year. Matthew's going to be there with me.
I'm already on.
Okay, all right.
I've got you signed up to put the biscuits in the bags again.
Yeah,
boy.
and I'm going to take them out and you
I
put
am
them
a
back
pro.
in again.
I am a pro at this point.
Yeah, I'm glad you can bag biscuits.
You can come over there with me.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us for Front and Center again. Be sure to mark your calendar for the longest table, and we will see you next time.
Tune in to the next episode as we share our dedication to transparency, public service, and governance, shining a spotlight on our commitment to keeping you well informed about all things City of Statesville.